Hello, and thank you once again for tuning in to the 30-day mental diet. Today, we are starting a new week. This is our fourth week of the 30-day mental diet, and the next series of lessons will all have to do with the subject of health. And today's lesson is lesson number 22, and it starts out why you should be healthy. And the subheading on this lesson says, it is the normal, natural way to be. So, as always, let's read the introduction to this lesson and let us see what we can glean from today's study. In spite of the way you may now feel, or the way you may have felt on some yesterday, the basic fact remains that it is in the nature of things that the life you live should be healthy, and that every function and action of your body should be perfect. This is not a matter of blinding yourself to the evidence, but rather of looking at the actual facts. So right here, Willis Skinner starts out letting us know that the natural state of being for you and I is health. If there is not health, this is not its natural state of being. So let's dive in a little bit deeper and see why it is that we do experience ill health from time to time. I'm reading the next paragraph, facts about health. Expressions of life fundamentally should be perfect. If this were not the case, living things would have disappeared from the face of the earth long ago. If living things had not been able to fight off invading diseases, to maintain the normal natural functionings of all the parts of the body, to renew and reconstruct damaged parts, they would never have gotten beyond even the single cell stage. Now, this is a very, very, very truthful statement. If you think about it, especially when you were younger, it seemed like when I was younger, my body healed so much faster. I break a bone, seemed like in no time, I'm back. I get a cut, it heals much faster. And I know as we get older, we get aches and pains when we get older. Some people get certain types of illnesses during their older age. Maybe it's things like gout, maybe high blood pressure, maybe diabetes. It may be a lack of their hearing and their eyesight might go. But the body is constantly repairing itself. And I want you to really, really focus on that, because right now in 2021, there's a lot of talk about health, because we're still dealing with this virus around the world. And one of the things a lot of people are they're looking to the pharmaceutical companies to come up with a solution. And it's an interesting thing here, because Skinner says that we would not have gotten past the single cell stage of life if health was not the perfect state. So our body has been fighting off plagues in the past, diseases and viruses in the past, because the body, inside our bodies, we have an immune system that fights for us to keep us alive. And the incredible thing is that with everyone looking at the pharmaceutical companies for maybe a vaccine or maybe a drug that can help us during this time, it's very, very few people that's talking about building the immune system that God has put within our body to help us fight diseases. This is the immune system that has brought us from way back thousands of years to where we are today. Okay, let's look at the next paragraph. Health comes from within. In spite of the great confidence you may have in doctors and their amazing abilities to assist you in times of physical difficulty, it is the body that heals itself. Assistance may be provided, obstacles removed, and certain mechanical things done. But in the last analysis, the doctor sits back and waits for the normal activity of the body to take over and to reestablish healthy functioning. Very, very true. And in the previous lesson on love, I was talking to you about there's a scripture that says that laughter does well for the bones as the best medicine. And we learned that if we have ill health, if we have confused thinking, it can lead to ill health. We come to the conclusion that confused thinking that of hatred can rot our bones. All these things can affect us. And whatever we do when we go to the hospital, the doctor does not do any healing. The medicine does not do any healing. All that medicine does is help our body remove impediments or put our body in a more positive state so that the immune system can do its job. So at the end of the day, it is the immune system, our body, that does the healing of all our diseases. Next paragraph says the source of health. If health is the normal natural condition of your body, what is its source? What is it that determines what normal shall be? And why does it maintain itself? Going further down, there is some intelligent purpose, some creative organizing force that guides, directs, and maintains in its stable state of health. So right here, the idea has been put that there is something within us that keeps us in a state of health. That the health that we're looking for is really within us. There is something intelligent in us. And we know that that intelligence is the infinite intelligence of God. We learned in a previous lesson about using the power of love, that God himself is love, and love is a creative force. But love is also a force that can heal your body. There have been studies that was done with babies that were nurtured and other babies that were just fed and left in the crib by themselves. And it found that the babies that were nurtured with love healed up. Their bodies healed very rapidly and completely. It was even shown that if you give love to a plant, a lot of people used to say, if you want your house plants to grow, talk to your plant. I have some dogs outside, and I have one of them. He is a mean one, doesn't like anyone. But when I realized that he is much calmer dog, because I give him a lot of love. When he sees me, he knows he's going to get groomed, he's going to get pet, I'm going to treat him with a lot of love. And I noticed he has come around and he's a new dog. We have something in us, love, God's love, that is constantly repairing our body, that constantly keeps us in a state of health. And we should always look within first whenever ill health shows up on the outside in our world. Okay, so let's go down. I'm reading the paragraph that says, God is life. And I'm reading in the middle of the paragraph. It is an idea in the mind of God that has made you, maintains you, and renews you. And this idea of necessity has to embody perfection. So, okay, the idea in the mind of God is what maintains you. The idea in the mind of God renews you. So God, the infinite thinker that we learned from the first week of the 30-day mental diet, is always seeing you and visualizing you as healthy. So how is it if God himself sees you and me as healthy? How is it that ill health steps in? Let's look a little further. What happened? I'm at the paragraph that says what happened. What happens to you when you encounter ill health? It would appear that in some way you have obstructed or inhibited the action of the perfect, purposeful, organizing life force which manifests itself in you. How can you do this? If this creative action within you is an expression of infinite intelligence, then it would appear that a misdirection of its actions likely would only result from another form, from a thought, your own. So I had mentioned before in one of the lessons, I can't remember, my day 22, bear with me folks, that God does not force you to think perfectly. God has given you free will. I said to you that God's vision for you is perfect. He sees you abundant. He sees you healthy. He sees you living a creative life. He sees you living a joyful life. But if your vision is less than, God can only give you the vision that you are portraying out. So I mentioned before, everything in our life is a reflection of our consciousness. So if we're always speaking about ill health, God must manifest that. We have redirected the thoughts that God has for us with our own thoughts. God has a vision for us, and if we are talking about, our aching back, I always get this headache and always feel sick when I do this and that. If we're talking about it and we're focusing on these things constantly, we're redirecting our thinking from being in a perfect state. Believe me, when you are always envisioning yourself being healthy, envisioning yourself as a healthy, perfect person drives you to do things that a healthy, perfect person does. And a person that's healthy does things like eating healthy because he's thinking about eating healthy. He might think about what he eats and say, this is no good for me and I will not put this in my body. He might look at certain foods and say, this food is unclean, I will not put it in my body. He might say, well, all this sugar and abundance that I'm drinking is no good for me, I will not put it in my body. People that are thinking healthy, think like, maybe I need to go out and take a walk, I go for a jog, maybe I need to lift weights, and they go out and they do these things because their mind is constantly focused and their vision of themselves is focused on health. You will sit and visualize and see yourself in perfect health. And by holding that vision, the spirit within you will motivate you. But if you're constantly speaking of ill health, and if your mind is constantly dwelling on negative thoughts, then you will engage in negative habits that will in turn affect your health and your body. Let's go on to the next paragraph, and I'm at healthy thinking. There is no separation between your mind and your body. They are but different aspects of a creative action of life, and you are a unified whole. It is your ability to think that can lead you into experiences of ill health. Recognition of this fact has been known for ages and has recently giving birth to that branch of medicine known as psychosemantics. Healthy thoughts are necessary before you can have a healthy body. You have to learn to think in terms of health. Just like I was just mentioning before, yes, psychosemantics is, you might have read somewhere where people were even given placebos and told, take this, pill and you're going to be fine by the end of the week. But really, they were given placebos or water pills, and they took the pill thinking they were actually taking medicine. And at the end of the week, they were fine. Because someone told them you're going to be fine, all of a sudden they straightened up their thinking and they were fine. If you look even in the Gospels, and where healing was, Jesus had asked one person, do you believe that I can do this thing? And the person said, yes, I believe, Lord. And it said, your faith has made you whole. Really, your faith, are you believing that you can be made whole? Think about any conditions that may ail you right now. Do you have the ability? Do you have the gall to think and raise your consciousness just a little higher to see yourself in a better state of health, in a perfect state of health, no matter what condition it is? Do you have the gall, the audacity to think, heck, the doctor says I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life, but I don't believe them. I'm going to believe that if I change my vision of myself and see my body in a perfect, healthy state, that there will be changes. Do you have the goal to do that? I'm challenging you on whatever it is that you may be struggling with. Challenging you to bring a higher vision of yourself today and in this week when we go over different lessons that have to deal with health. Okay, let's go down to the next paragraph. You are healthy. Okay, this is the last paragraph. In straightening out your thinking relative to your health, you must first reach the conviction that at its very center, life is perfect. You must know that you are intended to be healthy and that life can and will manifest health in you as you permit it to do so. Cease thinking in terms of any illness you might have or what dire thing could happen to you. For these are thoughts that inhibit health and become creative of the conditions you do not want in your experience. Remember, we spoke about focusing your mind on the things that you desire in your life. Not only focusing on that, but speaking the things that you desire in your life so that the thinking will create a mold in your condition. So the thinking will start the spirit moving within your body and create a new mold, a new person. You, if you can just hold a vision of yourself being perfect. Same paragraph. You can maintain your health or regain it. Once you know that it is always available to you as your natural normal state, and cease establishing through your thought conditions contrary to it. Wow, very good lesson, very good lesson. And yes, God wants you healthy. God only has a vision of health for you. See yourself the way God sees you. I'm reading from the mental stimulus, religion. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. And that perfection starts in a perfect thinking, seeing yourself as a perfect being. Let us read the diet together. We are at the diet. Let's read it with some passion, especially if you're dealing with ill health today. There is one life, and that life is God. That life is perfect, and that life is my life now. In this knowledge, I know that it is normal, right, and natural that my body in every respect should manifest perfect health. Every cell, every organ, every function is now as it should be. There is perfect circulation, assimilation, and elimination. That divine idea which created my body now maintains, sustains, and renews every aspect of it. What does not belong is discarded. What needs to be repaired is now being made whole. I let loose of all my fears and apprehensions about my health and what might happen to me, and accept the creative action of infinite intelligence which manifests all life. It knows what to do, how to do it, and is doing it right now in its manifestation as my body. Health is not a nebulous idea, but a divine fact. Perfection always exists in the mind of God, and I accept and declare that this perfection is manifesting in me now. God created me, and his intelligence now makes perfect his creation. I accept health as the normal state of my being, and this alone is what becomes my experience. Very, very strong diet. Very, very strong affirmation here in this diet today. And if you are dealing with ill health, and if you know anyone that's dealing with ill health, you should have them tune in to the next, the whole week, the next 8 days of this 30-day mental diet. They should tune in every day, okay? And they make sure you go out and get this book. You can get it at any of your online retailers. But this is very, very important, because the words here needs to be put deep into your subconscious mind, because maybe it is that you're having trouble seeing yourself as perfect as God sees you. Okay, let's read the capsule supplement together. There is one life, and that life is God. That life is perfect, and that life is my life now. The intelligent, purposeful activity of life is now freely manifesting its wholeness in every part of my body. Very, very good study, and I expect a very, very good week of study on health. And like I said, if you gain something from these lessons, please share these videos with your friends and family on your social media. And don't forget, give us a thumbs up. And I would love to see you, hear your comments. Definitely, any questions, any comments, write it below. And we will see you again tomorrow on the 30-day mental diet. Good night.